Hello everybody and welcome back to Innocent Life. It's Sunday once again. Seems to pass by absolutely no time at all by the time we get to our next maintenance day. The end of summer is just flying by. It is now the 28th day of summer. And I'm going to spend time in town today. Obviously we need to go do our maintenance with Dr. Hope. But there's a couple of other people that I want to talk to as well. I guess we can start by doing the maintenance since it is so close by and we can do it practically anytime that we want. So here I am, Dr. Hope, again, faithfully. And here you are, sitting at the same spot, waiting for me. I wonder what he does all week. Because anytime you come to see him, he's either eating breakfast, sitting in the lab, eating dinner, or looking at his parents' grave. He doesn't do a whole lot of anything. Kind of keeps to himself. He's a bit of a hermit. And our body is functioning normally. By the way, did you hear about the accident that happened at Marco's construction site? Apparently some coolant leaked in the cave and spread fumes everywhere. Luckily no one was hurt, but it would probably be a good idea to stay away from the cave for now. Huh, well, that plan backfired on him, didn't it? If you talk to Vita, she'll give you a bit more information as well. After the accident last night, Mr. Gallion came to talk to the doctor. He wanted to know what could be done about those fumes. The doctor suggested growing some herbs in the cave, but no one can get close enough to the cave to do it because of the fumes. If you're interested in helping out, you might want to talk to Mr. Gallion. So that is one of the townsfolk that we're going to be talking to today, obviously. We want to be able to help with this little problem, especially if it is affecting the townsfolk. Just for a bit of a recap, it was mentioned that Marcus was trying to create a supercoolant that would cool down the volcano rather than confronting the fire spirit. I don't think Marcus is really one to believe in spirits. He kind of thinks the whole thing is mumbo jumbo, but that was kind of his way of dealing with the volcano problem, but as you can see, it completely 100% backfired on him. And we can see here that there is a small plot of land, so obviously that is going to play a part in what we're going to be doing. I'm assuming that it's up to us because we're a robot and deadly fumes don't hurt us like they would people. And that is why we're able to walk in and out of the place totally unharmed and not bothered by the whole thing. Now, unfortunately, to be able to talk to Gallion, we're gonna have to wait until he returns back to his house in the evening around 4 o'clock-ish. At the moment, we know where to find him. He's attending his wife's haiku class, as he does every single Sunday, but if you talk to him, he's kind of all wrapped up in the poetry and won't give you anything to do with what we're wanting him to do. That Franco only writes silly haiku. So unfortunately, this is one of the situations where the location does affect the dialogue. As we had seen with Jonathan, just using that as an example, we were able to talk to him when he was off of his farm in order to get our makers, or not our makers, but our machines for our animals, our Cluck-O-Matic, our Moo-O-Matic, Ba-O-Matic, etc. But apparently with Gallion, that trick doesn't work, so we kind of have to waste a little bit of time here in Volcano Town before we're able to speak to him. Now, there isn't really much else I wanted to do today besides doing the maintenance and speaking to Gallion, but what I've done is I've put the angel ribbon in my inventory. We picked this up in the ruins when we were exploring, looking for the water spirit crest, and we have a couple of options about what we want to do with this ribbon. It is used to attract the man of her dreams if you give it to a woman. So you have 3 different options. You can give the ribbon to Emma, the pink-haired woman who works at the winery. She is Million's childhood friend, and she's totally in love with him, even though he's oblivious to it. And if you give the ribbon to Emma, you'll be able to complete Liberta's dictionary. It is the only way to actually 100% complete it. And you will also see Emma and Million get married. So that's option number 1. You can give the ribbon to Emma. All you really have to do to give the ribbon to any of these women is to have it in your inventory and go to speak to them. Your second option is to give the ribbon to Jessica, who is the mayor's daughter. She's one of the ones that attends the poetry class. Your best chance of talking to her is to come to Volcano Town in the morning before 10 a.m. and speaking to her when she's having breakfast with her family in the mansion. I don't think we'll be able to give it to her now that she's in poetry class. I could certainly test that out to see if it works, but I don't think so. Yeah, she won't let us do it right now, but either way, she is option number 2. You won't be able to complete Liberta's dictionary, but Million will all of a sudden sort of forget about his crush on Sharon, and he'll over time sort of start to notice Jessica, who's a bit of a shy, hopeless romantic type of person. And she will give you a red jewel. So she's the only one of the 3 that will give you a prize if you give her the ribbon. And that's kind of a good thing at this point in time, because right now at our farm we have 3 red jewels and we don't have a 4th one. So if you give the ribbon to Jessica, you can get a red jewel in return, and you can unlock more farming land. I'm not quite sure if the jewel is necessary. I haven't played far enough into the game to figure out if you have enough jewels, or if you have some left over, or if you have some but you can't use them. I'm not entirely sure, but just letting you know that that is an option. And I do believe that you can also give the ribbon to Sharon, but I'm not entirely 100% sure. I sort of read somewhere that she was the 3rd option. She's the only other adult woman in town who's not married or dating somebody who's kind of an eligible bachelorette, so to speak. And Million's already madly in love with her, so if you give her the ribbon, I don't know that it works in reverse. The description says that it... Wait, what did the description say? Oh yeah, attracts the man of her dreams. So I guess it would make the man attracted to her, but would that necessarily mean that she would be attracted to him back? So that's kind of an interesting item. It's not like a blue feather where you give it to somebody who you've been courting, somebody who loves you and you love them back and they marry you. This is sort of an accessory, like a fashion item that kind of makes you a little bit more noticeable to men. It is completely up to you. I think in terms of story and kind of what I would consider to be sort of canon and what makes the most sense, Emma's the most logical girl to give it to, just because you kind of do get that nice fairy tale Cinderella type of ending. You know, childhood friends, she loves him but he doesn't notice her. She wants his attention and everything kind of ends up happily ever after. But honestly, I'm kind of a little bit more concerned with the sweet loot that we can get if we give it to Jessica. So I will probably end up giving it to Jessica, but it would be worth seeing what would happen if you gave it to Emma as well. Now that the evening bell has rang and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we can see that Galleon is home with the family, so we can speak to him now. I certainly was surprised to hear about the accident that Marco's company had. I guess some of that coolant they were using spilled and backed up inside the cave. They say that it isn't toxic, but the cave is filled with the nastiest smelling gas. So I asked my son to order up a bunch of earth power sand and herb seeds. It's an old technique, but they say that growing herbs can help get rid of odors like the one in the cave. Obviously, technology hasn't done us any favors, so that is probably the best way to go. Unfortunately, now because it is so late in the day, we're not able to go to the supermarket and buy all of those things that we need. We are going to have to wait. But if you go to the store the next day, tomorrow, after speaking to Galleon, you'll be able to buy earth power sand. And I do believe that the herb seeds are sold at the vending machines that we find at our farm, but you can only unlock the option to buy them once you speak to Million. So speaking to Million after doing all of these things is going to be your next logical step. Unfortunately, I don't really have time for that today, but that's sort of going to be our next step. We're going to be setting up growing herbs in the cave and just kind of finishing up our last bit of summer. And before I end the video, there's just one more thing that I want to talk about. Obviously, I haven't gone to check on the animals today, but if I go to see how they're doing, you'll see that their products are gone. The milk is all gone and all of the eggs are gone as well. Somebody had left a comment saying that if you didn't pick up the eggs or the milk from your animals, they will automatically be shipped for you. So I wanted to test that out, and that is in fact 100% true. The only downfall of this is that you can't make them into mayonnaise or cheese and get more profits off of it. But it is kind of an interesting thing, because what you can do is buy the max amount of animals that you're allowed and just keep them here, but never have to go and check on them. Your animals are never going to starve, they're never going to get sick, they get let outside and let inside automatically. I mean, everything is basically done for you. And that is an option 100% if that's something that you want to look into. If you're just not interested in the animal aspect of this at all, but you want a bit of extra profits, then you can do that by all means. I'm probably going to use that to my advantage a little bit. There are going to be some days where I'm just going to really focus on other things and not check on the animals. But it is sort of cruel, in my opinion, to just have them being taken care of by the machines. Technically, I'm a machine, I'm a robot, but they don't know that. They probably think that a person's looking after them. And I would like to think that they're like animals in real life and, you know, they need a bit of tender love and care every once in a while. So I will continue to look after my animals and keep track of them and pet them and brush them and increase their happiness. But I did just want to point out that I tested that theory. It does work, and that is an option that is available in this game, which wouldn't normally be available in any other Harvest Moon game. Normally, you have to be very attentive towards your animals or they will get sick and die. So that's it for me. I will return in a future video and get that stuff in the cave started. We will work on improving the soil quality in the cave. We'll work on getting some herbs and we'll work on getting that gas cleared up. Hopefully quickly so that the smell doesn't affect the town. And maybe that will also help with the fire spirit, who knows. Anyways, I want to thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.